Hello and welcome to season 6, episode 5 of Pitt Tonight. I'm your host, Victoria Chua, and I'm very excited about our guest today. He's a former Pitt alum, but you know him as the caretaker of baby Carlos from season 16 of The Bachelorette, Ed Waisbrot. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. How's it going?
It's good. I'm super excited for this.
This is going to be a good time for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So first, you're a Pitt alum. What are some of your fondest memories here?
There's so many good memories at Pitt. One of those being Bigelow Bash every year was always kind of that first weekend where it kind of warmed up and you got some good music and everyone got together. But some of the simpler things, just being down at the Union, shooting pool, having subs, the meal plan, just hanging out with friends were always some of the best times. So I lived in Towers for 3 or 4 years, so it was always about the all-you-can-eat buffet in the basement and some Union burgers, and the CMU parties were pretty good back then, the frat parties. So, kind of a quick walk up the street, and they'd always kind of have something to entertain us on the weekends.
Well, that's awesome. This is a big question, and people might love you or hate you for your answer. But Antunes or Sorrentos?
So I've never heard of Sorrentos, but Antunes has been a favorite of mine ever since college. When the meal blocks ran out, I would jump into the Antunes for $4. It was $4 back then for a large pizza. I don't know how they did it, but Antunes all the way. And if it wasn't an Antunes night, it was a Fuel and Fuddle half off after 11 kind of a night.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
good answer. Well, okay, getting on to the actual experience of the show itself, just a question that I've always wondered. I'm sure the first night, especially, there's so hard to remember all those names. There's so many people. Are there names on the roses?
So, not to my knowledge, I actually would examine my roses. I never found my own name on my rose. Okay. But how they do that and how they can remember 30 names, I have no idea. There's got to be something going on because I couldn't remember any of the guys I met that night. So,
oh yeah. Well, okay. What was it like being on one of the first reality shows to film during the pandemic?
Yeah, I think it was exciting. And it was basically a huge unknown. And so I had been picked way back in March. I went out to California time one. They had shut down filming the day we were supposed to kind of meet Claire. And so you come back, it's a pandemic, and then you think, hey, this is never going to happen. That was a great, opportunity that just kind of vanished. They kind of kept in touch with me along the way. And then I think in June, they reached out and said, hey, we're going to pull this off. We're going to set it up in a bubble. And I said I'm down, but there's that doubt. Can they do this? Can they get everyone there COVID free? And so, myself, I did everything in my control. I stayed in my condo. I had all my groceries delivered, and in hopes to get out there and test negative. And somehow they pulled it all off. So it was exciting. Every day, I think we all kind of had this. There was a sense that it could be shut down at any time, and we knew that. We knew that COVID could somehow get in there and. But knock on wood, it didn't happen, and it was an amazing experience. And kudos to the team for sure.
Awesome. I mean, besides from filming during a pandemic, you guys had a memorable season for a few other reasons. From the increase in diversity to the Bachelorette swap from Claire to Tayshia. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I think right out the gates, obviously, our season was very diverse, especially if you look at historically seasons prior. But not only was it diverse racially, ethically, or ethnicity-wise, etc., we also had, the oldest cast, I believe, ever in Bachelorette or Bachelor franchise history. So as a result, we had a lot of guys that were in their 30s, and we didn't have that kind of, kind of the drama that you might expect from the show. And, we all kind of bonded there and became really good friends, and that's kind of translated to the outside world. So I think that diversity within the age and the maturity levels that we got really kind of changed the season. And obviously, as did the Bachelorette swap, which none of us saw coming, of course. And you're kind of forced to pivot on a dime. So you're here, you're talking to Claire, getting to know her. and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's out of here. And you wait a few days, and then Tasha. And so it's kind of like an immediate pivot, and it was a challenge at first, but obviously it was a great experience, and it was historical in itself to have two bachelorettes. So yeah, certainly a very interesting curveball there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really great to hear, and I feel like you could tell on the show that you guys were all really close. So it's nice to hear that. But how has life been after the Bachelorette? Has anything changed really?
So I think life after the Bachelorette, like for myself, like recently it's been fairly normal. That's just due to like the fact of like kind of the COVID restrictions. We haven't really been able to travel and go out as much, and kind of played it safe, not going to restaurants and bars like you typically would. But it's interesting. You get a lot of people like, recognizing you when they do see you, or thinking that they know you. And I think there's a perception from what they saw on the show, and they think you're going to be, like this. And then they find out maybe you're different, or you're not quite as they thought. So it's always interesting to kind of meet people, and they'll give you kind of like their feedback on like what they, oh, you're a lot nicer in person, or you're this or you're that. So it's interesting and it's fun. But yeah, it's kind of life as usual now, just like back at work, working from home. Everything's kind of slow. So just waiting like everyone else for the world to be normal again here.
Yeah. Do you and the guys from the cast still stay close? Do you stay in touch at all?
Yeah, I think everyone out there, I think I have a unique relationship with. A lot of these guys are friends for life. I've had the fortune to see quite a few of them when it's like appropriate, when we're near each other. It's a COVID safe opportunity to get together. Yeah, and it's great. I think that's the best thing that came of the experience for sure, was just the fact that you have these friends that you went through this bonding experience with, and that you'll have that forever. And like I said, they cast a lot of good guys, a lot of mature guys, and really a lot of good guys that definitely those relationships will stay intact going forward.
Well, do you still consider yourself the man child? And do you have baby Carlos?
I could grab my little imposter baby Carlos real quick.
Okay.
Dude, I would call him an imposter.
Imposter baby Carlos. I'm excited.
This is the dollar. This was the dollar store version of baby Carlos
Okay.
here, basically. And so what happened was, yeah, the manchild award, I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, it was one of those things, you got to run with it. It was fun. It was fun to have Carlos. You came to, a rose ceremony. You got to take him to the group date. But that baby in particular is like a $2,000 baby that, has functions and goes to the bathroom and cries. And so, when I left, I don't think they're so, keen on having me take a $2,000 doll. So I replaced it with this $20 doll, and, he serves his purpose. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Great to see him. Is there any chance that you're going to be on Bachelor in Paradise?
I mean, I believe there to be. Definitely they showed interest, and I know in the next couple of weeks here they're going to kind of reach out to those they want, and kind of start with that process for casting. It's kind of creeping up. We're almost in March, and it will be filming in June. So yeah, that would be really exciting to kind of get back to a new environment, and kind of some of my castmates would be there as well, and just kind of hopefully have a better opportunity to meet someone when you have more than one individual, one lead. So definitely that would be something that would be a great experience.
Well, are you currently seeing anyone, and how has dating been like with COVID?
Yeah, so I'm not really seeing anyone right now, but dating with COVID's been unique, and it's kind of just forced you to be a little bit creative. So I live in Miami, and it's warm year round, so that's convenient. So what I like to do is kind of I call it the sip and stroll, where you get like a bottle of wine and walk around Brickell, like along the water, just kind of hang out, get some exercise, drink some wine. And it gives you kind of a good chance to get to know people. So it's been hard just because of the limited ability to, kind of include people outside of your little bubble, and you kind of got to be a little bit more picky. But I think it gives you a good opportunity to kind of get to know people versus, going to some fun event where you can have fun with almost anybody. You're kind of forced to conversate.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of pushes things along and lets you know where you're at kind of quickly as far as the connection.
Well, is there any dating advice you would give?
I think the only dating advice I'd give, I think, comes from the show, just be authentic and be myself. I had a great time out there. Everything I did, I was true to myself. Obviously, there wasn't that lifelong connection with Claire or Tasha, but I had a good time, and I think you just continue to do that. I mean, I want someone that would be my best friend, that you're always around, and that appreciates you for you, and they can be themselves around you. So yeah, I'm just kind of someone that will accept you for a little bit of a man-child tendency here and there, have some fun, and all those kind of things. Someone that's outdoorsy. So yeah, I think that show taught me a lot to just kind of stay true to yourself, and I think that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, based on our talk, I think that you would be a fan favorite on Bachelor in Paradise. And everyone from Pitt, regardless of whether you're Team Antunes, Team Sorrentos, we will all be rooting for you to find love. Do you have anything that you would like to plug?
I don't have anything to plug right now, and technically we're not allowed to plug anything. But anyone from Pitt, of course, like hit me up on Instagram. My name is Ed Waisbrot, and anything Pitt related. I'd like to Bennett and I are gonna do. We're doing a talk with the women's Pitt Business Club. I forget the exact name of the club, but we're gonna meet with them next month and just do something over Zoom. So anything Pitt, if I can give back. I mean, I'm from Pittsburgh originally, went to Pitt, and so of course, just hit me up, and always glad to collaborate and work with anyone that's a Pitt student or Pitt alumni.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did.
No, it's fun. Yeah, I love doing these things. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to see some Pitt students, and I don't down here. I don't meet too many Pitt people at all, so it's been fun.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. I had a lot of fun. And thank you to everyone who watched.
Yeah, thank you.